Most people like to talk about horror films when giving examples of suspense. However, instead of doing that, I'd like to focus on the film Sicario. There are two scenes I'm going to be talking about in Sicario that I think build suspense effectively, and if you haven't seen the film already, I highly recommend watching that first before continuing to watch the rest of this video. The first thing I want to talk about is the scene with the military caravan. A part of what builds up the suspense in this scene is that we know only as much as the main character does, which is not a lot. She doesn't totally understand what it is they're doing or why she's even there, but one thing is certain, that this is not business as usual. This becomes clear when some of the military personnel pull out some of their weapons in suspicion of a civilian vehicle. Again, we as audience members only know as much as the main character does in this situation. Clearly, something is about to happen, something that the other characters know about, even though the main character does not. The scene works at building suspense because it gives us enough information to know that something is definitely going to happen, but not enough information for us to know exactly what's going to happen or how things will play out. It's interesting how this scene in Sicario builds suspense while withholding information from the audience. It reminds me of when Alfred Hitchcock made the distinction between surprise and suspense. He paints a situation where two people are having a conversation sitting at a table when all of a sudden a bomb that was under the table explodes. In a situation where the audience is going to be surprised, it would be a situation where all you know about is the conversation happening at the table and then all of a sudden a bomb just goes off. However, in order to build suspense in this situation would be to allow the audience to know about the existence of the bomb before it goes off. Alfred Hitchcock argued that a great way to build suspense was to give information to the audience. However, he does have an exception to this, and that's when you're trying to make a twist. This brings me to the other scene in Sicario that I wanted to talk about. It's one of the last scenes in the film where Alejandro's character confronts the man who killed his family. Going back to what Alfred Hitchcock said, in this scene, we as audience members are already informed that Alejandro wants to kill this man. That's why he's there. The surprise in this scene shows up with how Alejandro goes about doing this. When the man asks to not be killed in front of his kids,
Ahora vas a conocer a Dios.
Alejandro kills his kids first. It is a very brutal scene, and I'll admit the first time I was watching it, I was a little shocked when I saw that. But that goes to show how you can work a little twist into an otherwise suspenseful scene. As I've mentioned before, I could have looked at horror films in order to give examples of great suspense. However, I think for films outside of horror, I think Sicario is a great film to look at as far as how to build suspense.